Hello, my name is Formosa. Today I'll be talking about some biblical stories. So throughout biblical stories, there are many parables that incorporate a great man, a hero, sometimes a man chosen by God, and then his inevitable, unavoidable downfall, almost as a lesson or a parable, or an insinuation that every man will fall by hands of a demon, or every man will fall by hands of a woman. Many of these stories are centered around fallen angels and their offspring. You can see this kind of symbolism with wings, something that was an angel but lost its high frequency and became a servant of man. Usually these are also women, such as the harpy in Greek mythology, the Sphinx from Egypt. All of these are usually females and women, and it always involves wings or a winged creature that really is magical and shouldn't be in a low three-dimensional frequency, but ends up being here on Earth, celebrated in all the sculptures and symbolism of almost every empire. These stories I'm going to talk about are quite dark. At times, I will go to biblical stories. I will try to show how we are missing in a very important detail in exactly what the Bible is constantly trying to remind us of. And not just the Bible, also if we look at Troy, the story of Troy, Homer's Odyssey, Dante's Inferno, all of the great old literature, ancient literature of the first awakening of mankind, we will see some similarities, and it usually is connected to the woman. And we can start really with the first and the earliest stories of biblical relevance, such as Adam and Eve. I guess we should probably start with Adam and Eve. So this is one of my favorite illustrations. There's lots of symbolism here. And I've begun to work out what I think is going to come across as a little sexist. But I am not sexist. I've never been sexist, and this does not change. This should not change your relationship with physical women today. It should just help you see the Bible in a much more profound light. And even if what I'm saying is something you disagree with, that also is acceptable. So we have symbolism here, and a lot of the symbolism is essentially a portal symbolism or a tree of life symbolism. So my theory is that Adam, being a man, did not come first. It was in fact Eve that may have come first. And I believe this because I don't understand why God would create the man first, and then the man would feel lonely. The man will see other creatures around him, and if we look at nature, the woman is always the dominant aspect. So were women dominant aspects in heaven too? If you look at various kinds of species of animals, like the praying mantis, after the mating ritual has been completed, and this is God's creation, the man is consumed. If you look at various types of anglerfish, the male almost molds into the female. If you look at seahorses, for example, the woman creates the egg, the man is the carrier of the egg, and then the seahorses hatch. So the woman is the beginning of every single life cycle. I believe that the angels in heaven are all women. I don't think there are any men in heaven. I think that we cannot think of God as a specific gender. That makes no sense. So God has to be a culmination of both, or however many genders there were originally. Obviously, when we look at statues like Khnum in Egypt and Cernunnos in Ireland, the very origin of this idea of a single deity. Also, the Taoist original deities, there was only one. So this one deity had to be a woman. That is where the portal for life comes from. I believe every fallen angel was female. I believe that that's why these angels that broke this rule, I think there may be men and women at some point. There may be guardian angels that are men, and then sentinels that are women, etc. up in heaven. I think that the majority of those angels, though, are women, and I think the ones that came down to earth were also women. I believe this because it is not physically possible for a human woman to give birth to a Nephilim giant. She would die in the process. The Nephilim would never get enough nourishment to grow physically into what the Nephilim were, especially the Nephilim that were used in armies such as the Philistines, such as the Trojans, the Sumerians, the Assyrians. They all had these Nephilim giants in their armies before the end of the greatest empire, which was Atlantis, which was completely covered in water and destroyed in the flood. But I believe that if every empire had these angels, there must have been millions of them, and they must have ruled the world as kings, as the Grosse, the great, the men of renown, the giants of our realm. And these were evil, and they were demonic, and their mothers were fallen angels. The other way around makes no sense. The women would die, and even if you did impregnate a human woman with fallen angels seed, the woman would die before the child was born, and the child would not have enough nourishment. It would not make sense, and even the birth would completely, it would be an apart thing to consider. But we have to consider that, and we have to be physically accurate, and biologically, it makes no sense. I think these were women, and I think I know exactly which women they were, and we have them in our own myth today. So the woman takes the apple. The woman is the one that then makes that decision to give the apple to Adam. This is a very misogynistic story, but it has been altered. I think the woman came first. The man was created to accompany the woman, to complement and protect her, to keep her safe, because the realm was going to change. And then the woman takes the apple, or maybe the man takes the apple and says, hey, let's try eat the apple. But in the Bible, we do have this idea of the woman never being allowed to rule the church. The woman can never be a pope or an elder in a congregation. She can never be cardinal. She can never lead the congregation or the church in prayer, right? She has to cover her head. Why? Because these were the fallen angels. The fallen angels were women. And there isn't a need for men if God is the one bringing the seed into Mary, if God is the one starting life within the woman, and there was no need for men if God is doing that, and God originally was doing that. Men were not necessary. And here are a few little other stories that might help you understand how I've come to this conclusion. There are many theories of the Orpheus egg, the idea of a woman, a female, laying the egg and God impregnating the egg. These evil entities, or the evil is usually manifested throughout these fallen angels who become feminine. So you have so many stories of the female within the Bible being, for example, Jezebel or Salome, who cut off the hair of or the head of John. We have John the Baptist, right? We also have stories of great men being killed in their sleep, or the hair being cut to weaken them. Then there is the story of Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene was possessed by multiple demonic entities. This is an interesting part of the Bible that is never usually spoken about. Jesus, the archetypal man, the Son of God, brought down to earth, was removing the demons from the women. So the women are fallen angels. The women are, all of them, easily inhabited by demonic entities. And in Luke 8:2, it says that Jesus removed 7 demons from Mary Magdalene, and that's what then created a pure woman that could then, in many other theories, become even his wife at some point, because a man is preparing a woman to become his loyal partner. This could also be the result of sins, such as prostitution, which is actually not clearly specified in the Bible, but something that we often presume about her. This is Queen Antiope, a great story here. I'm not going to have time to talk through about all of these stories, but this is also almost a mirror story of some of the biblical stories where you have a queen, the most ferocious woman who comes down onto the land, kills everyone and rules. This is Jezebel, and I'll talk about her a little bit more later. she also becomes this epitome of evil, almost like a harlot